What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another MMA YouTube video. Today, we are going to be doing our weekly rankings and ratings updates. Not weekly, but for every card. Basically, what this is using our spreadsheet, which is this channel's like metric for judging fighters, and it's linked in the description of the channel. It's linked in the description of every single video. Using that, we rate fighters with overalls akin to Madden or FIFA and attribute overalls, which you'll see when we get into it, and we rank them when they're not in the top 15. So we have the top 15, then we have every other fighter. We rank them just kind of subjectively based off where we think they are. So that's what this is. This is just like the update from the Kansas City card.
Yeah, not many fighters particularly showed out this week. We have some good risers, but nothing insane, mostly because of the matchups that were given to them. But we had a lot of people just like prove what they are, staying exactly as they were scored. But it'll be a good way to introduce a lot of like pretty solid unranked guys into this, and we've had some great new additions on this card as well, which we'll get to.
That's some stuff that probably we should have already had, but
Yeah.
you know. All right, we're gonna start off on a positive note, as we always do with these videos, with our biggest risers. And we got the two guys on the screen, Randy Brown and Zhang Mingyang, both going up to an 83 overall. Of course, Randy only raised 2 from an 81. Zhang Mingyang only raised 3 from an 80. Like Will said, there's not the biggest, like crazy, like +6, +7, +5 even to that type of risers on this card, like there was on like 314, for example, because yeah, there just weren't that many high profile fights. Of course, there was a guy in Carlos Prates who had a opportunity to rise himself a lot, but he did not, which we will get to more towards the end of the video. Um, but yeah, so I mean, I think it's pretty self-explanatory for Randy Brown. He looked phenomenal. I wouldn't say like he necessarily proved that. I think he just proved that he has like really significant power that he's developed over the course of his career, and that's what most of this rise comes from. Because Dalby's never been finished, and Randy Brown's never really colded someone like that. So yeah, that's most of what the rise comes from. Almost it's entirely from his striking stat, from his power. His striking just continues to look more and more slick every single fight, from the Salikov fight to the Brian Battle fight to the EZS fight to this fight. Those are out of order, but it continued to look slicker and better, and the power's developing. So yeah,
Yeah, I mean, he didn't show anything. He didn't show us anything new, but he definitely just looked better, probably than he ever has. Crazy performance against like a really, really good unranked welterweight. Dalby is pretty much as good as it gets. When you're in that you know area of welterweight. Um, Randy Brown, he is huge. For the division. He made Dalby look like a lightweight. Dalby's not, that big for welterweight, but this guy is big. He hits really hard. His striking and defense, which is a big thing for him, has gotten better. He did get dropped, but his recovery was really impressive to me. He did exactly what he needed to. He didn't get. I don't think he got a ground and pound shot landed on him after he
no,
got
he got
dropped.
it.
Yeah.
It was very similar. We discussed this in the recap. It was very similar to Holloway Gaethje, where Gaethje dropped him off like
Yep.
a shot to the temple. He slips back, gets up. So,
Yeah, so
yeah.
it was great to see that from Randy Brown. I love this run he's been on recently, even though it's technically only a one-win run. I do think he beat Brian Battle. He's looked great in every fight he's had, 2024 onward, maybe even into 2023. But it really started for me on that Muslim Salikov fight. But let's see more from Randy Brown. He could
Yeah.
definitely earn more and more.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And so we're not going to include rankings in the video. By the way, you can go look at the spreadsheet if you care about the rankings. But Randy Brown did move up, I believe, to 17 or 18. I mean, he is right there. The only guy ahead of him would be maybe like Kevin Holland or so. I don't know. There's very few people. He might be number 16 at welterweight. There's very few people ahead of him in that unranked area. Ming Yang Zhang, pretty. This is like just like your basic prospect. As he beats better guys, he gets better rankings and better ratings, right? He moved up into the rankings to number 15, I believe, or 14 or 15. um him or Menafield are 14 and 15. I forget which one is
I
which.
would hope Min Yang would be higher ranked than Menafield because
Yeah, same.
look at their
um
last fights. But
So yeah, not much else to say here. It was just like, yeah, I raised his grappling a little bit because he showed not terrible takedown defense. It's like, yes, it's Anthony Smith. He can't shoot a takedown for shit, but um, and is just striking. Just, I mean, look, Anthony Smith or not, walking him down with those elbows with just no regard for anything coming back, pretty impressive. And I think he's one of the best strikers in that outside of the top seven, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, he has a really deep bag with his strikes. I love the showing of elbows because you don't really see that too much at light heavyweight, save for like a few really top level fighters. Um, and it's cool to see. They've been super effective. I mean, he one pumped Ozzy Diaz with them, and now he like split Anthony Smith's fat bald head open, and that was pretty cool. Sucks as a retirement fight for Anthony Smith, but there was really only one way this was going to go, and sadly, Anthony Smith made it lame. I'm if Minyang could have like slump KO'd him like he usually does his opponents, one that would have been great. But two, he probably would have rose a bit more in the rankings. But Pig Heart's gonna Pig Heart. He's gonna quit. It is what it is.
Yeah. And yeah, because Ming Yang, I mean, he has filthy power. We've seen that. Before this, he had 3 one-shot KOs, but he's not like a guy who's going to wait around for that one shot and then just swing it. He's going to hit, 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 and eventually he knocks you out. So, um, yeah, this wasn't the best opportunity. Like a Roundtree who really selects his shots and throws filthy combos. Like Ming Yang Zhang kind of just throws a shit ton of stuff with mean intent and great technique, but yeah, all right. Let's get on to of course, going from the biggest risers to the biggest losers. The more negative side of the video, we got a -3 and -4. Let's start with Chris Gutierrez. Man, this guy's just been lowering and lowering and lowering. Not just in our spreadsheet, in our opinion, but in the opinions of every MMA fan and every like analyst of the sport. I
Yeah.
mean, it feels like he looks worse and worse every fight.
Does
Um,
anybody like Chris Gutierrez? Is there a
that's a genuine.
single Chris Gutierrez fan outside of his family? This
Yeah.
guy sucks to
So
watch. Nobody likes him. Get him out of the UFC. That's my
I
opinion
I
on him.
I totally agree. I lowered him out of the 80s. I would say around the Frankie Edgar fight, I would probably have looked at this guy as like an 83, 84, and now he's down to a 77. That's mostly just lowering pretty much every stat from him, his striking, his grappling, his condition. They all just look worse and worse and worse every fight. His fights are so boring, his fights are so there's just nothing to like with Chris Gutierrez, so I don't want to harp on him too much.
I
The more
think like
interesting
yeah, the only positive for Chris Gutierrez is he doesn't get finished, but that's his entire fighting style, not getting finished. And his eyes are too close together, and that's fucked up. Get this guy out of here.
It might be all right, but for the more like I would say interesting one is Giga, and the more high profile one, Giga Chikadze. Um, this is his striking didn't get lowered at all. This is entirely in the grappling and conditioning. It looks like his cardio isn't what it used to be. I think we saw that a little bit in the Arnold Allen fight. We saw that in this fight. No effort to get up, and we also lowered his grappling a good bit. I think I lowered it from a 79 to a 76, and it lowered his from his conditioning to from like an 81, 82 to a 76. Because like it seems like he doesn't have the cardio anymore. He's always been inactive. He's always had terrible durability. He's had a good chin, but terrible durability everywhere else. And yeah, I just feel like he's slipping. That he got kicked out of the rankings. Onama debuted at 14, I believe. And Giga got kicked out of the rankings. So yeah, it feels like this is the not even the beginning of the end. I feel like the beginning of the end was the Caceres fight, but then he kind of showed out against Down, and it was like, oh, maybe there's still something here. But no, I think this is the beginning of the end for Giga. I'm starting on a big lower. -4 is a pretty sizable
Yeah.
chunk of overall. So
All honesty, like pretty scary look for Arnold Allen. I hope he looks good in his next fight, but like, you know, having such a competitive fight with this Giga. I don't know if it was this exact Giga, but like Um, something similar is a little concerning because this Giga does not look good. I mean, he's currently not a ranked featherweight, and he didn't look like a ranked featherweight in that fight. So, I mean, neither did Onama, in my opinion.
we'll get to
But yeah,
Onama later. But yeah.
just a bit sad from Giga. He's just been on the decline as soon as he fought Cater, and he hasn't really been able to catch a break because you know, according to Milo, I actually haven't watched the fight. He lost to Caceres. Um,
No. That okay.
yeah,
That's
Milo will
Milo's
say that. Yeah,
yeah, Milo's another person who appears on this channel every once in a while, and he is like the world's biggest Alex Caceres fan. Giga did not lose to Alex Caceres. It was really close, but he didn't lose.
yeah, but Milo will tell you, swear on everything in his life that, swear on Charlie's life, his brother, that that Caceres won that fight. But dude, Giga's just been on the downfall like since Cater, and I mean, here we go. Here's like finally a big loss for him. I
Yeah.
think he's
And for
done.
context, that Cater fight was what 40 months ago. I mean, yeah,
They're
it's
bringing up the
rough.
months. Okay.
Exactly. That's how fucking yeah. All right, let's get on to we got some new additions. This is just the first group of new additions. Don't click off. I swear we're gonna get to more interesting ones, okay? We got Matt Schnell, Timmy Kwamba. Matt Schnell is like we're re-adding him because he was not he retired, so we didn't have him in the spreadsheet because it was like he retired. He came back. It's the same Matt Schnell, so I don't feel like we really need to talk about it. Um, do you have I mean, do you have anything on him, or can we just
No, it's match
yeah.
no. And Timmy
Yeah.
Kwamba got to win the UFC, so why not put
Yes.
him in here?
Exactly. He debuted pretty much at the bottom of the rankings, as like the 56th or so best featherweight. Um, but hey, it's whatever. It's good. He got himself a win in the UFC. I was a Timmy Kwamba hyper before he I was a Timmy Kwamba fan before he lost two in a row. But hey, maybe he's back on track. Got an awesome KO. So, yeah, these two debut in the rankings. Okay, now we got the actually interesting ranking debutantes. Let's start with. Okay, I just have to say let's start with Evan Elder, even though he's on the other side of the screen. I want to end with Wellmaker, not end, but get to Wellmaker after him. This is like one of the sickest pictures I've ever seen of Evan Elder here. I have to say that shit is so cool. And he's quietly on a 3 fight win streak. This kind of happens at lightweight. Like Markel Medeiros is on a 2 fight win streak. Tom Nolan is on a 3 fight win streak. Evan Elder is on a 3 fight win streak. Like guys just pick up wins against like, oh yeah, I guess they did. So he's on a 3 fight win streak. I had to add him into the lightweight rankings. He debuted higher than regularly than a new ranking debutant would get into the rankings at. He's probably at 40 something. Same with Wellmaker because Simon was, pretty high profile of a debut. But yeah, I mean, I don't have much to say on Elder. He's on a 3 fight win streak. He's pretty good. He
Yep.
throws with meaning. He seems like he's developing his takedown defense. He's strong as hell. He hits hard. Like, yeah.
Yeah, no, Evan Elder. I'm super dark right now. Holy shit. Um, Evan Elder's really entertaining. He puts on a show. I like this. I like watching this guy's fights. 77 overall. I think that's about accurate. He's shown like a pretty good skill set. I don't know how far he'll go. He's one of those fighters where that's just kind of a complete mystery to me. I don't. I doubt it'll be too high, but especially with how strong lightweight is. But you know, 77 overall proves like Evan Elder. He is solid. He is definitely UFC material as he's on a 3 fight win streak. So yeah,
Yeah. And then, I mean, obviously, Malcolm Wellmaker, man, just absolutely sick debut against a good opponent. Crazy KO. Guy looked great on the contender series, looked great on the regionals, and looks great in his debut. Just not much else to say. I mean, debuting at 76 for a bantamweight and his first fight in the UFC, that's something, right? Because bantamweights, we do hold them to a higher standard than, say, lightweights. So Evan Elder on a 3 fight win streak at 77, Malcolm Wellmaker in his debut at 76. Pretty impressive. Obviously, that striking stat is already very high. He's just got to prove more with the grappling and conditioning. But yeah, man,
yeah,
he's
dude.
he's
If he does this exact same thing again that he's done in his last two, or maybe even more now, I'm not too familiar with his career before the contender
I
series
forget
and
it
stuff.
actually a decision right before the contender series if I
Yeah.
remember right. But
Well, if he just keeps doing this, he's gonna rise up really fast. He's gonna see if he does this exact same thing, where he just goes out, smokes a dude instantly, especially like a solid opponent like Simon, or I can't really think of another unranked
I mean,
bantamweight.
we matched him up. We matched him up with Alatangeli. So
Yeah, if he does that to Ala Tangeli, then dude, he's gonna see the 80s very quickly. This guy, from what we've seen of all his UFC related appearances, he could really make it. Um,
yeah.
I mean, we saw our most recent like bantamweight super prospect losing in a extremely embarrassing fashion. So I'm not gonna, go crazy with Malcolm Wellmaker. I've never been like super high on him, but this was a great win, great debut. This guy, like, he has it. Um, we'll see, where he goes, but he could do it. Like, he could get up to the top of bantamweight, which I'd like to see.
Absolutely. And all right, I'm gonna go. We will get to Gary and Prates, by the way. Don't worry. We're obviously gonna talk about them. I just want to talk about some minor changes. Also, Alaskarov, I lowered him by 1 because he just looked like shit, and I was like, why the fuck did I have this
Yeah,
guy? I lowered
that
him from
that
an
dude.
82 to an 81.
I mean, king of the goofy goobers.
Yes, but
He's a
I just
mess.
I don't feel like it's important to talk about. Let's start with Michel Pereira. Jeez, he looked bad. He seemed we've discussed this a couple times in the since this card, but it seems like he might be losing his identity. And if he is, it's a way bigger overall drop. But I'm not quite ready to, totally kill his overall, kind of like Krylov. Like I'm not in the 314 rankings and ratings recap. I'm not totally ready to just kill his overall because like this could just be, wow, that was a really bad performance, and he comes back looking better. I mean, we matched him up with Shar Magomedov. That's a chance to show out for Michel Pereira. But if he has totally lost his identity and he's going to look like that in every other fight, this is a lot lower. He's going a lot lower. I'm
Yeah,
just
well,
going to move him to 80.
not even a
Well,
lot lower. If he keeps losing like this, get him out of the UFC.
oh,
Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, he got booted out of the rankings. Abus debuted at 15, and they moved up someone. I think it was Rainier to Ritter probably. They moved him up. So, or no, Roman Kopylov. They moved
yeah,
up Kopylov to 14, which is cool. So, yeah, he's got booted out of the rankings. We gave him a pretty much entirely in the striking and conditioning. We lowered his overall, and that, like I said, that can go a lot lower if he shows up like this again, or like Will said, completely excommunicated. All right, and David Onama. I didn't feel like I needed to raise him that much. This is entirely in the grappling and conditioning, minor raises in the grappling and conditioning. But he looked fine. He looked okay. His striking defense and chin are still like, why? But and he just doesn't entice me, and I feel like a lot of MMA fans kind of hold this opinion as well. He doesn't entice me like some type of prospect who just hit the rankings would. But but he's solid. I mean, 82's for featherweight, man, that's a really solid ranking. Obviously, once again, we judge him by division. So 82, him being an 82 and Michel Pereira being an 81, like David Oname is leagues better than Michel Pereira. But featherweight, middleweight, you get it. So yeah, I just thought a little bit of a raise. He looked fine.
yeah. I mean, I said that a bit when we were talking about Giga, that like Onama just didn't really impress me and doesn't really feel like a ranked featherweight. Like he's always been a fun fighter who's just outside of the rankings, and that's kind of where I feel suits him best. I don't really think he has too much value in the rankings. I don't think he'll go up by much. I mean, maybe I'm just hating. Maybe he's actually like really good, but I don't know. He didn't prove it to me here. And I don't know. I think there's a lot more fun matchups outside of the top 15 for him where he will actually win. You know?
Definitely. Nate Landwehr matchups. Which was like one of the greatest fights ever. I would like to say with Onama, we were saying this in the build up to this fight. We didn't think he should have got this shot at number 12 against Giga, against an aging vet who's at the lower end of the rankings. Dude, he went up from like low 30s in the rankings to number 14 now, I believe he is.
Yeah.
Low 30s to 14. Like it's
I
whatever,
mean, I,
man.
I would have liked to see maybe like Hyder Emil, one of like the many
Yeah.
other uh featherweight dudes who are just outside that top 15 who are all super entertaining. And so is Onama, but those guys are both entertaining and deserve it. So,
Yes, exactly. I don't feel like Onama was one of those guys. Yeah, like Hyder Emil, Chepe Mariscal,
yep.
Nathaniel. Well, there's so many at
Dude,
featherweight. That's
Chepe
kind of the biggest.
especially. How long is Chepe's win streak at this point? How much
I think
does he
it's
have to
four,
do?
right?
Yeah,
4 or 5, yeah.
against
And
good opponents.
impressive. I mean, dude, I know it's Damon Jackson, but he killed him, dude.
And Jack
All right.
Jenkins. Jack Jenkins is good too, but
Yeah, even though it's kind of, but yeah. All right. Italian keeping it, Peter. Basically, what this means is these fighters stagnated. Their rankings did not change. Ratings did not change. Ian Gary did go up to number 6 for for this win,
He should
moving
not
Buckley
have
on.
gone over Buckley. That was
I
stupid. But
I agree. But so yeah, I just felt like obviously most fighters on the card stay the same overall, right? But what this slide is for is to talk about the ones where I think it's important to talk about these stagnating fighters, right? So I had Gary at 91 overall coming into this fight and Prates at 84. And I think this fight proved that, right? It just wasn't very close. Of course, it was a 48-47 decision, but like it didn't feel like a 48-47 like fucking like Holloway versus Volk uh uh 2, right? It felt more like a Cannonier versus Gastelum where it's like yeah, it was 48-47, but Cannonier's clearly better, right?
no, it was
And I
just
think
yeah,
everybody
and especially those first two rounds, complete one-way traffic for Gary.
for
Um,
3, for 3
yeah,
really.
first three, yeah. Prates kind of just did nothing for the first three rounds, which is super frustrating to see. Um,
Yeah.
I think a
So
lot of people expected more from Prates. I know I did. I thought he would be a bit more entertaining, but he just didn't show that.
yeah.
But
So I think the fight totally validated the ratings. 91-84 like they're clearly a little far apart. Of course, Prates did throw the fight, but
yeah,
that's a discussion for a different day.
yeah. I mean, Prates. Do you want to go into like the minutia of your ratings? Because there
Yeah.
was you did change stuff, but their overall stayed the same. So
Yeah.
let's go into that.
So for Gary, I didn't. I kept him 90. This is how Gary was. I don't think he proved anything different. But for Prates, yeah. So for Prates, I did change his striking rating and his condition rating. Or sorry, striking rating and his grappling rating. His condition stayed the same. His striking, I moved down from a 92 to a 91, and his grappling, I moved up from an 80 to an 83 because he showed his takedown defense is good. But he showed his ground and pound is totally incompetent. So like, yes, the
His
takedown
ground and
defense.
pound and his like striking ability in general on the back foot.
Yes,
Um,
that too. Well, yeah, I was talking about with that's why like the grappling. Usually, if a guy shows that good takedown defense, which we previously thought was not there, usually it would raise him up way more. But that top control, that top game in general, kind of brought it back down a little. So it's 83, I think, is good for his grappling, and then 91, yeah, like Will said, absolutely no ability on the back foot, no ability to deal with a guy who's as tall as him, not even as rangy as him. Man, he's more range than Gary. But he couldn't deal with it. He couldn't really land until the fourth round. I mean, and it showed that he doesn't really have that touch of death. Like, of course, in the fifth round, when Gary, I think, was definitely a little tired. That's why his condition is at an 83. Chin, tired, whatever. Built brittle. That
he's
even
not
when
even
Gary was
built
tired
brittle.
around.
He's artificially been made brittle through a vegan
Yes,
diet. But yeah,
yes. Um, yeah, man. So Prates, a little bit of up here, a little bit of lower there, but he stayed the same overall, right? He stayed at 84 overall. I think he needs to improve a lot, which he's 32, so that might not be happening. But I think he needs to improve a lot if he wants to hang with the big boys. I think Brady would kill him. I think
yeah.
he would probably beat Shavkat if it's the same Shavkat that's been showing up in these last two fights. But I don't know, man. It's a tough road at welterweight. I made him. Um, we basically said like get him a bounce back, right? We gave him
Winner of
Holland Luke.
Holland. Yeah.
Yeah, winner of Holland Luque to fight him. So I do want to get him a bounce back, get him back on track. But this was a rough performance.
I find it so frustrating watching him because of course when he's marching forward, controlling the pace, he looks like the Terminator and he kills people. But dude, why can't this dude counter whatsoever? Like he is such a good striker, but as soon as you have him taking a step backwards, he has no ability whatsoever. It's so frustrating to watch. Um,
Mhm.
he can't counter. His defense just falls apart when he's going backwards, and that's exactly what Gary did. Like good on his team for making that game plan. Gary just kind of, you know, he just walked him down and just outboxed him because Prates can't do shit off on the back foot.
Yeah,
Um,
and yeah, Gary has quite the camp going. I mean, it's shoot to box and parts of Sanford MMA, so, or Killcliff FC. So yeah, he's got quite the corner going. So I bet yeah, his game plans are gonna look good. So All right, well, that's going to do it for our UFC Kansas City rankings and ratings updates. We're getting right back to business tomorrow with our picks for UFC Des Moines, Sandhagen Figueredo, and yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, not too many big changes. Sorry about the lighting for my camera like bugging out through the entire video. I don't know what was up with that. This shit sucks. It's so difficult. Like I'm either yellow or this is happening. Um, it is what it is. So sorry about that. But thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, do all that YouTube stuff. We'll see you in the next one. We'll have multiple videos out on this week and next week for UFC Des Moines. So that card should be good. So we will see you tomorrow, actually.